Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest installment of our Meet the Artist series. This series is designed to uplift the voices of artists in our community, and we're excited today to be here with Aitina from Get Focused Productions and learn a little bit more about her background and her artistry. Welcome, Aitina.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're so excited. As you know, and as our viewers know, I haven't been with this organization for more than a few months at this point, but I've just loved all of our conversations we have, and I'm so excited for you to be able to share your story today. So with that, do you mind just sharing with our viewers and our community a little bit about you and your background and the art that you work within?
Yes, so I'm Aitina. I'm born and raised in Buffalo, New York, on the east side of Buffalo, and you know, was educated here. I graduated from performing arts, and I also graduated from Buffalo State College, ECC, got my undergrad and master's there. Um, at a young age, I was just really seriously engaged in the arts, which really helped me a lot. I was a rough kid. I was pretty rebellious, because there were things that were going on underneath all of the class clowning, if you will. I had a traumatic kind of childhood, if you will. I lost my biological mother when I was 3 to drugs. And so me, my sister, my brother were in foster care for our youth. And then my foster mother adopted us, and she kept us engaged in the community and engaged in extracurricular activities that really showcased to me the importance of like cultural institutions and, working within the arts. And so that's where I developed a passion for photography through SIPO Gallery. I developed a passion for video productions through a program called Yo Buffalo, and they had the Matrix program. And then I learned about Squeaky Will. And so these tools, photography, film, and then also writing, really led me on this path of like expression. First it was just for me. It was me coping with the issues that I was having. And so as time went on, it developed into what I have now, a career based off of all of the things that I learned when I was a young teenager. So it's amazing. It's amazing how things run full circle. I would have never thought that I would be in the position that I'm in due to extracurricular activities, arts and education programs, and, things like that. So I'm a huge fighter, if you will, or activist, if you will, for arts and education and arts being integrated into education, because it's important. I'm the data for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
in a nutshell.
amazing. And Aitina, I've seen your work that you do with students in the community, and it's so incredible. And you sharing your story has really inspired so many of those students to not necessarily follow a career in the arts, where I'm
Yeah,
sure some of them have, but really inspired them to have some self-reflection and to be able to express themselves better, which is
exactly.
so important. And it really speaks to the healing power of the arts.
Absolutely. It does. It really does. Having a diagnosis at a young age saying that me, my sister, and my brother would be, or not would be, we were emotionally handicapped. That is actually on our papers, that we wouldn't have the ability to um, deal with our emotions or cope with our emotions, or we would be problematic children. As a matter of fact, my adoptive mother, or my mom, she was told, or yeah, she was asked, are you sure you want to adopt these 3 children, because they're going to be really problematic? And my mom said, I am confident I can. She was in her 50s when she took us, when she adopted us, and she said, I'm confident I can. And her confidence and her strength and ability to, do the best that she can as a parent really showcases through the work that I do now. So I think that arts is very important and impactful to young people, especially when they come from spaces of pain, which it has no color. In my opinion, you're going to deal with issues, no matter who you are, what background you have. It's just going to be difficult, dealing with trauma and pain and things like that. But art has a way of allowing you to have an outlet.
Mhm.
So that's what it's given me.
Yeah. And I've seen that when you present. I mean, you reach all students regardless of race, ethnicity, background, even language barriers, because that art that you do and that transformative power of it, but also having trauma in your own past, people are able to relate to you, even if your backgrounds aren't the same and it's not necessarily the same trauma. They know that you've experienced some of the same pain, and it really, I mean, it truly does help them open up in their own ways and kind of identify some of that and see how they can grow. So I cannot say enough wonderful things about the programs that you present.
Thank you.
But you do not just present programs for young audiences.
Oh,
You do a lot of other stuff in the community, a lot of art-based work, arts integrated education, and you own and are the founder of Get Focused Productions. Do you want to talk a little bit about your company and some of the amazing accomplishments that you do through Get Focused?
yeah. So Give Focus Productions is a creative media arts company, and it's just dedicated to capturing project-based stories, then designing curriculums to teach youth about soft skills through the implementation of photography, film, and creative writing programs. And then the biggest thing that I love is giving back to the next generation of creatives. So I like to say, simply put, we capture, teach, give back. So capturing through photography, film, teaching young people and adults about the magic of photography and film and those soft skills, and then giving back to the community in any way possible. So I've been doing work within Get Focused Productions almost for about 7 years, but the last 3 years has been full time, and it's been really amazing. It's been an amazing journey this 3 years, and I've learned so much about my how my doubts held me back for a little while, and I was able to push past those doubts about myself and create something through Get Focused Productions, and I've found success through this entrepreneurship journey.
And that's one of the things that I think is so powerful and incredible about your story too, right? There's not many people who can take their artistry and make it a full-time job, that's sustainable for them and for their family. And you've really been able to do that. And I think it's because you are such an inspiring person yourself, and the story you tell and the way that you help other people recognize their own stories. Yeah, so I'm just in awe by you regularly.
I think, as the more that I go throughout this process, and the I do interviews a lot, and I'm listening to myself as I talk and about different things, and I get asked questions a lot about, like, how do you do this, or how do you stay motivated, and
Mhm.
how did you like create a business based off of what you love. And what I realize as I reflect back is that I just had a passion. I just had a passion, and I never let go of that passion no matter where I was. I knew I was passionate about working with young people at a young age. My first job through Mayor's Summer Youth was being a camp counselor, a junior camp counselor, then elevated to a camp counselor. So working with youth has always been something that I was inspired and passionate about doing. And so I continue to pursue with every job that I've ever had. I pursued working with young people,
Mhm.
some kind of way. And then throughout that process, all of the cultural institutions that I was presented with in my youth, I kept in contact with them and used them as providers through the organizations that I work with within my career in non-for-profit. So I would just say, like, follow your freaking passion, man. Just follow your passion. And no matter what it is, just find a way to make it work. So my passion was working with youth, and it was dealing with arts and education. So I made sure that every job that I had something to do with that. And if I felt that an organization that was providing youth development programming, if I felt that they needed a boost in arts, or they needed a boost in some other soft skill, I would go within the community and find the resource so that I can bring it in that particular organization. So just follow your passion. Before I knew it, I looked up and I'm like, oh, wow, this passion and the work that I'm doing kind of on the side outside of the non-for-profit work and the 9 to 5 was overpowering my 9 to 5. And so, me and my husband had to make a decision, and we made the decision for me to just go all in and do Focus Productions full time. Follow your passion.
And it's incredible. And you definitely have. And I think that's so inspiring to the youth in our community. And I mentioned this a few moments ago, but you are so inspiring across age, across gender, across skin color, race, ethnicity, background. And it just is amazing to see the work and how well you relate to all of the youth in the community, and really talk to them the way they wanted to be treated, right? And that's so important. You don't talk down to them like they're kids and they don't know anything. You treat them like adults and like people who have a story, who have a passion of their own. And it's pretty unique because a lot of people go into these communities with youth and think they know better and they have the answer. And it's pretty off-putting for any teenager.
It will turn them off. But really what I do is I treat them like a human being, because that's what they are. They're human beings. And the way that I approach life is I don't take, I don't want to say that. The way that I walk through life, I know that I can learn something every day. Like I'm not immune to learning. Just because I grew up and I'm an adult now doesn't mean that I can't learn from anyone.
Right.
So young people are teaching me. And
right.
I think that's the energy that I bring to the table. And I want them to know that they're experts in the space that they're in. I'm no longer an expert of being a teenager. I'm no longer a teenager. I don't know what that means within our society today. And so I have to be open-minded, and I have to, learn and study the subject matter, if you will, or my clientele, if you will, or the human beings that I say that I'm passionate to work with. So I think like within any career field, let's say you're a surgeon, if you're a surgeon, you're studying your profession, you're looking at different ways to, you're looking at those who work within that field. You want to do the best that you can. You're not going to go into the surgery room half behind in it. You're going to do it to the best of your ability. And so you have to learn the language that surgeons use. You're going to have to be educated. So that's the same way that I look at this profession. I work with youth. Youth are delicate, as we all humans are. And so I want to hear them. I want to actively listen to them. I want to make sure that they know that I value them. And so this just comes natural to talk to whoever I'm in front of with respect, and I want to impact them. And I don't try to go into a space with a mindset that I'm going to save them either. All I want to do is present the best me that I can, and hope that they see my genuineness and feel open to share with me their stories and teach me something that they know.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. And I think so many people can learn from that approach that you have, and just the idea of respect, right? And everyone deserves it. Everyone deserves to be treated like a human being. And I just think that's incredible. And you do that every time we're together, every time you're with a school. And I just think that so many people, regardless of being an artist or a community member or a student, teacher, whatever, can learn from that approach to really make a difference and impact these kids' lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about COVID. And you are still presenting all of your programming during this global pandemic, and you've really been able to pivot and still continue with your work with young audiences, but also your work with Get Focused Productions, even in a virtual world. And I'm just hoping you can share a little bit about some of the impact you still have, even though you can't see people face to face, and it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I have to platform this, what I'm going to say with this. Where I'm going to go with this part of the conversation, I need those who are listening, I need you to understand why arts and education and arts programming is very impactful and important to young people, and also trade skills. Because all of the things that I'm doing, I learned at a young age. So being able to pivot has a lot to do with my skill of problem solving and creative thinking. And I learned that through processes that I learned when I was a young person in these programs, which is why they need as much funding as they need. And sometimes you don't see the results. The data that is showcased through my life right now, the administrators of these different programs didn't have this data right here, because this data is not seen unless you really take time and follow a young person. So their success in funding programs, their success in continuously doing what it is that is important and impactful for young people. So I learned about graphic design. I learned about technology. I built a computer when I was about 15 years old through Hinkles and McCoy. I did video production programs. I learned about photography. All of these things I learned, and I was able to master them to a certain extent. All I'm doing is doing that. So when COVID hit and I realized, oh shoot, my kids, I'm not going to be able to see them. And oh shoot, all the contracts that I earned are going to be closing because schools are closed. I had to creatively problem solve and figure out all of the skills, talents that I've developed over time, and all of the connections and networking that I have built through over time. How can I best utilize these skills so that, one, I can keep doing what I'm passionate about. Two, I can keep bringing income in. And three, I can touch the lives of these young people while they're at home and they're trying to figure out and cope with what's happening. So how can I develop a program that's going to be engaging and exciting and something that students are going to want to tap into? Mm-hmm. How do I take what I've been doing in person and create a space in a virtual world? So I used all the skills that I have. I had to do some research and figure out what equipment I needed, how to make it look really good and crispy and nice, how to organize my work so that it's simple to get. How do I get them engaged and moving during the program that I'm teaching through virtual? Because I do not believe in students just sitting in front of the screen like this. Mm-hmm. I believe in let's get up. Go find something in your kitchen, bring it back to the computer. All right, talk about it. I believe in hands-on learning, which was a very difficult part of it because I'm such a hands-on teacher. So I had to figure out, how do I make this hands-on when I'm not in front of them? So it's just a lot of creative problem solving, a lot of tapping into, resources that I had available, just a lot of talking to young people to find out what they like and what they want to do, and being open to hear them out and then trying those things, a lot of trial and error. And hey, I mean, here I am teaching a lot of virtual classes to where now I'm in Atlanta, basically. I'm in Atlanta while in Buffalo teaching a organization called We Live to Create. I'm doing programming with people from all over our country, with creative writing programs. People are coming into spaces from California, Chicago, different spaces to learn more about how to write and how to communicate through writing, and how to utilize your smartphone, how to utilize that camera that you purchased, and just trying to make it as engaging as possible. And I found a lot of success in this space. And honestly, though I'm not too happy about COVID, I am happy that I was able to tap into something that I had no idea existed, and that's the virtual world. I'm able to go in other spaces, in other cities through this virtual space.
Yeah, and it's so important right now. And as we talked about earlier, some of the trauma informed care that can really happen through this power of the arts, youth needs now more than ever, right? They're isolated, they're not getting the social emotional interaction. And that's true for little ones, but teenagers as well, right? Yeah. And even grown-ups, adults are experiencing some of that. So it's really incredible that you're still able to have that impact even in this virtual world. And I will tell you, you're right on, and you know it, but kids need to be more engaged, right? They sit there all day like this.
Yep.
But when they're with your programs, they aren't like that. You know, they are engaging, they are up and moving, and really thinking and getting involved, which is pretty incredible
They're
because
excited.
yeah.
You want
Yeah.
them to be excited. I mean, I think that our kids, you know, we as adults, we like to think that we kept them in mind, and we like to think that we made decisions for their best interest, but we didn't ask them.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't ask them, how would you feel about being on the computer for 6 hours? How do you feel about, you know, tuning in, you know, at home with your cameras on, and people
Mm-hmm.
can see in your house and can see, you know, things that are going on in your home, your mom or your dad, you might not want them to see certain things, you know. No, I don't know if they asked young people about how they felt about it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And you want to, as a teaching artist, as an educator within the arts, my job is not necessarily to erase the pain or take away their issues. My job is to give them a tool to help them cope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was given the tool to help me cope, and now I made a career out of it. And my career is to help other people to cope through this tool that I was given. And so I think that's important. You know, our kids matter. They're important. It's cliche to say they are our future. It is very
Mm-hmm.
true. And so we have to invest better in our young people and give them the tools that they need to succeed and be better, better than us. We have to allow our ceiling to be their floor and allow them to propel higher than us. That is imperative.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Um, well, is there anything else that you would like to share about your artistry, about your background, about the impact you have? Anything?
Just, you know, like I said, when people hear this interview, so you're watching this, I would want you to get out of all of this, I would want you to understand that no matter if you're young, older, seasoned, whatever the case is, you really should just follow your passion. If it's going to be beneficial, you know, we have to figure out what that passion is. Is it beneficial to other people? Is it good for you? Is it healthy? Is it motivating? Is it encouraging? Will it ignite thought and change in other people? Will it expand perspectives?
Mm-hmm.
We waste a lot of time. We waste a lot of time sometimes chasing after careers that, yeah, it can make you a lot of money, but will it be fulfilling? I would I would have hated to go through my life trying to chase something and then realizing deep in my 30s or 40s that the very thing that I've chased after is not what makes me happy and what makes change.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I live this dash, because we got birth, death, and you got the dash in between. You have to live it to the best of your ability. You have to go for it. You got one life to live. Why waste any moment of it?
Mm-hmm.
Do what it is that you love to do and make sure that you're giving back and sharing your stories, which is why, you know, I stepped into this career with that mindset. I was able to develop this business or this company in a way in which it's built off my passions. I don't run my business like a normal, I don't know, like a normal business person. I run it off of passion. And sometimes that might sound kind of scary for some business people, but I found a lot of success in being honest and true to who I am. And if I want to chase a story that will ignite thought and you know, expand perspectives, oh, that's what I'm going to do. If I want to work with young people for a whole quarter, then that's what I'm going to do. Um, I want to continue to give what I've been given, and I want it to make change. You know, just a little, as far as, you know, a little bit about me as far as professionally, I do exhibits. I do a lot of exhibits that deal with community engagement. I make sure that every exhibit that I do is based around a theme that will allow for people to enter into the exhibit and see stories. So the Art of Motherhood was an exhibit in which I captured stories of regular, normal moms who have stories to tell.
Mhm.
And I showcased their photos, and I showcased their films. And when other people entered into the space, they were able to connect with these moms. Other mothers began to say, wow, yeah, I dealt with postpartum depression, or I dealt with looking at myself a certain way, and wow, this mom is really like pushing through even though she has this many kids. Or wow, this mother didn't birth any children, but she's an adoptive mother who was able to find, find motherhood through that way. And, just trying to find ways to bring community together, because I feel like in society, especially now, where we have to be 3 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet apart, finding ways to bring people together, to see that they all have similarities. Yes, we have differences, but there's similarities. We're human. The same red blood bleeds through our bodies. We have to see each other. We have to see each other. And so like I said, the exhibits that I put on, I just want people to see each other, like Tales from the Porch. I went from the north, the east, the south, and the west of Buffalo to find stories, because I wanted to break myths. I wanted to break stereotypes. People say the East Side is this way. Well, let's go to the East Side and let's find the stories. And what I found going from one side to the next is that really we're just human beings trying to live the best that we can. And I was able to display those stories in Buffalo State's space, gallery space. And there were hundreds of people who came into that space and were able to socialize with each other and find out, like, wow, yeah, the South Side is not as bad as I heard it was. Actually, they're just humans over there
Mhm.
dealing with human problems and human issues, human joys, human sorrows, human grief, human triumphs. And like I said, every exhibit, every video, everything that I do, that's what I want. I want people to see the humanity within each other, no matter what they look like, no matter their choices, their opinions. It doesn't matter. First thing we need to understand is that they're human, and there is love that we can give to one another. And so that's like the passion behind everything that I do. And then I teach young people how to do the same, empathize and capture the stories, and showcase humanity.
I think that's an incredibly important lesson for so many and so many people to hear right now with everything that's going on in our country and in the world. And there's so much divide, but learning to see that humanity and that respect and that love that people can have for one another regardless of their backgrounds, is just so incredible. And the work you do to kind of break down some of those stereotypes, and to get people to see that, oh, I'm from Williamsville and I'm from the south side of Buffalo, and we actually have the same story. We had the same experience of postpartum depression or adopting a
Yeah,
child or whatever it is, and seeing that, oh, you really can relate and you do have similarities to these people you thought were so different. I
exactly.
think that's
It's
incredible.
very, very important.
Yeah. Well, Aitina, I want to thank you so much for your time today and sharing your story, your artistry, and continuing to share it with the community, because what you do is so important. And we're so thankful to have you as part of our roster, and part of our community to share your
Thank you.
story.
Thank you. I love young audiences, so I'm always around.
Awesome. Thank you.